Rolling blackouts and water supply problems are making people nervous about the safety of the food we eat, not to mention the deadly cholera outbreak in Hammanskraal. So how can we make sure that food is safe? Let's discuss this now with Professor Susan Goldstein. She's a public health specialist at the Wits Centre for Health Economics and Decision Science. Prof, good afternoon. Welcome to today, and thank you very much for your time. I mean, we're all wondering, how safe our food is because of what we're seeing playing out in Hammanskraal.
So it's an interesting question because our food safety is more than one thing. So what you're talking about really is whether we can catch cholera from our food or get poisoned by the food that we eat. But food safety is in addition looking at the kind of, so if we're eating ultra-processed food, for example, we might be eating stuff that's really not good for us, creating obesity and in terms of cholera prevention and clean water, it's really make sure that the water we drink is clean. The Hammanskraal water situation should never happen in a middle-income country like ours. But what people can do, they don't only have to buy bottled water, but you can add 1 teaspoon of bleach, real bleach, to a liter of water, and that will help keep it clean and get rid of all the miserable include cholera. Other ways of getting clean water, of course, is making sure water. But as you say, food safety, we wash our food, we cook our food. So anything that you're worried about, you need to make sure it's very thoroughly cooked so that it's cooked through. And also, there's no rawness to it. And if you wash your food, make sure that the water that you're washing your food in is clean. And don't forget that if you have ice is the same as water and can be infected.
So don't just plonk your ice for a drink thinking the ice is safe. It is not. And did you say a teaspoon of bleach, like jik, a teaspoon in how much water?
Yeah. A liter. Well, in fact, it's probably, in fact, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's a liter. It certainly won't kill you if you put it in a liter, and it will prevent the getting sick.
Yeah. So the thing is, if the water is not clean and you have to wash the food, there's also a challenge there.
Yeah. 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 So you have to make sure that you have to use only clean water to wash food.
Yeah. Now, what about?
Or you peel it. Peel the food instead of washing it.
Oh, peel the food. That helps.
Yeah.
Okay. So for people, nowadays the cost of living is just so high. Things have spiked. The people with limited budget, how do they ensure that the food that they're eating is okay in terms of consumption, nutrition? What are your thoughts, Prof?
It's actually very difficult. Fresh food is the most important way to eat. So if you have time and energy to cook, of course, load shedding is a problem. If you have that time, it's the best way to eat. Packaged food that's convenient is often problematic. And that's why HEALA, the organization that I'm working with now, are calling for front of pack labeling so that we know what is in the packaged food that we are eating. All foods, there's new law coming out, which we want everybody to comment on. And the law says if there's too much salt, if there's too much sugar, if there's too much fat, and if they're non-nutrient sweeteners, artificial sweeteners they're called, then there will be a warning label to tell parents and people that what you are eating can be harmful to your health.
So you mentioned these gazetted draft regulations by the Department of Health.
Yeah.
And now we as a public have until the 21st of July, I understand, to make our inputs and comments. Currently when we buy food off the shelves, those who can afford to buy food, it's got all these nice words like nutritious, like superfood, but those, according to these draft regulations, will be a thing of the past if the regulations are approved later on.
So anything that qualifies to have a label on them cannot claim any sort of health value. The other positive thing about these labels is that any advertising cannot happen to children if they have these labels on. So it's clear that these labels will help us identify which foods are the most dangerous, basically.
So you welcome these draft regulations, Prof, as a health scientist. You welcome them.
I do. It is a help. It's not the only thing that's going to change how we eat. As you say, people need to be able to afford healthy food, but it is a start, and it definitely will help. And people can comment if they go onto the website. The website is called What's in Our Food. You'll see that there's a place for people to comment. You can write letters, etc. They give all sorts of advice on that website.
Thank you very much for your time and explanation this afternoon about food safety here on Today. That's Professor Goldstein, Public Health Specialist at the Wits Centre for Health Economics and Decision Science.